Okay, so the master for today is Mr. Khalid Desai, and the topic being financial technology information management. Mr. Desai has more than 8+ years of experience in this field. He's currently information management specialist at Allianz Global UK. Allianz Global is the world's largest financial services company and also the world's largest insurance service provider. So without any further delay, I invite Mr. Desai to take over. Over to you, Mr. Desai.
Good morning, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Abdul Samad, for the introduction. I'm not quite sure if I would refer to myself as a master, but thank you for those kind words. Part of the reason, I'm not sure if you people are watching the video or not, or just hearing my sound. Part of the reason why I don't have my video on is it's around 5:45 in London right now, and I woke up just about 20 minutes ago, so I'm a total mess right now. So you have to do with just listening to me. So a little bit of a background. When Abdul Samad approached me, I was actually very honored that he thinks of me as someone who can talk to young students and minds and share my experience. Thank you very much for having me, and thank you all for coming to listen to what I have to say. It's quite overwhelming at the moment to see so many students in different parts of India at the moment. I did hear Rizvi College, Mumbai. Is that correct, Samad? Can you just give me an introduction of what are the other colleges that are there?
Yes. So we have got Rizvi College from Mumbai. We have got Yashwantrao College from Nagpur. We have got Rajendra Mane College of Engineering from Ratnagiri. And also we have got College of Engineering from Kerala. And okay, there is Khalsikar College from Mumbai also coming in. So there are total 5 colleges here.
Wow, that's fantastic, and I must say that this is a fantastic platform that you are running, and to bring industry people together with students so that the industry people can share their knowledge. So thank you very much for coming. A little bit about myself. My name is Khalid Desai. I'm just hold on. I think I have, this is the part where I start a presentation, so please bear with me. All right. Are you able to see my screen now?
Yes, it is clearly visible now.
Excellent. So, yes, about myself. My name is Khalid Desai, born in Mumbai. That's why I know Rizvi College. I have a lot of family there. I grew up in Saudi Arabia, where I also did engineering and also my MBA. I worked there for about 4 years in the field of information management before I moved to London about 4.5 years ago. It was interesting to see the video that Abdul Samad just put up when about, what was it, Rohan and Geeta, if I got the names correct. I was pretty much like that. I had no idea what I wanted to do. I think when I finished high school, I did computer engineering because I thought everyone else was doing computer engineering. And once I finished that, all my other friends were doing MBA, so I wanted to do MBA as well. So yeah, I didn't have any guidance from anyone. So I was just doing things that I thought were the right things to do, or just trying to follow trends, which most of us do at that stage in our lives. And I think that's something that WeMind is trying to bridge the gap between, which is a fantastic thing. It's more like a guidance, counseling kind of an approach where you bring the industry experts and tell the students how it is to be in this job, what it is about, and maybe then they will have a more informed approach to what they want to do in their careers. So I think I'll go on now with the presentation that I have. It's not very big. It's very short. Not going to take more than 20 minutes or so. So basically, Allianz Global Corporate and Specialties is an insurance company. It's a specialized insurance company that deals only with corporate insurance or marine, aviation, and energy. We don't do personal insurance like car insurance or home insurance, pet insurance, etc. We're a part of the Allianz Group, which has these services in personal insurance as well. But we are a global entity that spans over more than 36 countries. There's a lot of complexities involved in such an industry because insurance is a very regulated industry. Most of the restrictions that come into insurance are from local governments, local laws. And so having a company that operates in multiple countries is quite a challenge. If I can just give you an example, Bajaj Allianz, for example, is one of the local companies in India, which we have partnered with to provide local insurance services. And we are also present as Allianz Global in India, as a global company, which is based out of Munich in Germany, and operates in India. So there's quite big challenges for insurance companies because every country has different kind of laws to operate in such a global manner. Yeah, so I've already given you a background that I have a degree in computer engineering and MBA, so that was the perfect option for me, IT and finance. I think one of the key functions in the finance industry and highly underrated is IT. IT is literally the backbone of companies that operate in the financial industry, be it banking, be it portfolio management, be it insurance, and many other industries. I can think of telecom, for example, and IT is, even though it's not their core business, but it is the core support function. I would say I would call it a support function because it's not something that generates their revenue. Perhaps maybe in banking or in portfolio management, in which people sell some IT services like internet banking and maybe charge people for that, or internet portfolio management, or buying and selling stocks and stuff like that. But primarily IT in this industry is a support function, but it's a very key support function and sometimes overlooked. And I can give you some example of how important it is for IT to be present and working properly in a finance industry. Yeah. For example, if you are unable to access your online banking for some reason, or you are unable to access any services that your bank provides, or your securities, the stocks that you want to buy or sell at some point in time, if these services are not available to the customers, the company that is in this industry is at a risk of losing those customers to competitors or other companies that are providing better services. As in, I'm a good example of this. I'm a slave of technology. I love to make use of technology wherever I can, and I hate going into a bank. So if my banking application on my iPhone isn't working, or my internet banking isn't working, I would seriously consider moving my business to another bank. So I mean, these are just a couple of examples that I've given why is in the financial industry, even though it is just a support function. Okay, here is some of the things that IT helps in. Everybody hears about big data management, and right information extraction. I think there's so much data in the financial industry or telecom industry or insurance industry that it is very difficult to make a lot of sense of it unless you bring it out into the right kind of information. And I like to make a distinction here between data and information. Data is something that is very raw, on the basis of which you really cannot make a decision. Information is something that helps you make a decision. So once that data is then transformed into information, is a point where you are able to make those decisions. And that's why sometimes in the industry, in the IT industry, most of the management systems or tools are called decision support systems, because they help you make decisions. They bring the right information out and help you make those decisions. Other things that IT helps in is customer services. I already gave an example of online banking or internet banking. We do also see in IT that there's a lot of new products that are being developed that help support the whole IT part of the business as well as the client, not just for the client, and also for the employees in an organization. So you can see that IT is helping everywhere. It is there in the customer side. It is there for the business, the management to make the key decisions, have the right information. It is there for the employees to, for example, see their payroll or request for a holiday, and this is all done in an IT application within a company. Every step that we have in an organization, IT has some level of input in there. Obviously, we cannot imagine working without Outlook or a laptop at work anymore. So you can imagine how IT is important in not just the financial industry, in any industry, and in every stage of an working career. Okay, I'm not sure if it goes. Yeah, sorry. Okay, so yeah, I just wanted to talk a little bit more about how information management is helpful in banking and insurance. And I'll take an example in insurance where at what levels information management is helping. So information management is a combination of data warehousing, so getting the data into one platform for reporting. So there's data warehousing and there's reporting. So just to give you an example, I'm not sure how many of you are IT background students. I did hear a lot of engineering colleges that Abdul Samad mentioned. I would imagine that most of you are from the IT background and then would probably understand some of the terms that I'm going to just mention. So there's a lot of systems in which transactions are entered, and you call them transaction processing systems. So in the insurance industry, for an example, you have an insurance policy that is being sold at an insurance outlet somewhere in Europe. So that policy is being entered, the information about that policy, insurance policy, is being entered into an application system, and that application system is obviously developed by IT. The reason why they would do that is because if you have millions and millions of insurance policies, you can't really have all of them on paper or just in a filing system in like it used to happen, and then any kind of information that comes out of there you cannot collate that information easily, and that's the reason why you would enter this into a system. And once that is into the system, there is variety of other IT-based applications in which people could enter this information in different locations. Now, some of the limitations in IT in companies with IT is that not each technology, not the same technology, can be used in different geographical locations. So, as an example, I'm using a Salesforce.com as a data entry system or sales entry system in Europe, but I'm using a completely different front-end system in India. And but the management that is sitting in Central Europe wants to see all of this information together. So it is very difficult to get combined or collated information from these disparate systems in different multiple locations. And that's why you try to bring them into a warehouse. And that's what I just mentioned earlier. The first part of the information management is the data warehouse, where you bring data from different locations, different application systems, different geographical locations into one single platform that can be used for reporting. There are several advantages of doing such a thing as well. You have a single point of truth at any given point in time. You have all the information available in one single platform. The querying time, some of you who might be very familiar with databases and SQLs, querying on a single dimensional data model is going to be a lot more quicker than using several queries on different databases in different locations and trying to collate them together. So yeah, that's how then that's how I would like to emphasize the importance of this information management in insurance, by saying that this information then flows through from the front-end systems, which are, let's say, the transaction processing systems, into the reporting platform that is the data warehouse and the reporting. And then these, on top of these, then there are technologies, vendors that you can use, or tools that you can use to build those reports that helps make the big people decisions. So yeah, and then I think at the moment in the finance and insurance industry, or any financial services for that example, whether it be asset management or banking or insurance, IT is or technology just is really a backbone of this. You will often see a trend is emerging these days that the CIO, who is this chief information officer in a company, in a corporate, is now starting to move onto the board of directors of most financial services companies. And part of the reason is that it is such a core function that there has to be an IT presence on the board of directors. Otherwise, it would be a function that is ignored and would harm the company in many ways. Cognos, I'm not sure if many of you have heard. The reason this is up in this presentation is because I would call myself a sort of an expert in Cognos. This is the tool from IBM for business intelligence and performance management, or information management, or business analytics, if you want to call it. It is a tool from IBM that helps you build the reports, generate your key performance indicators, have some dashboards. These terms might sound very fancy, but they're just, colors and graphs and reports and millions and millions of rows of Excel. So this is the tool that I have used for the last 8 years. There are other vendor-specific tools that I will come to a little later in the presentation, but this is the front end of the information management. So the data warehousing, the data is stored. The first part of it is data warehousing, where the data is stored in databases. It could be Oracle database, SQL Server, or IBM DB2 series. And this is the reporting part of it that builds the reports on top of that data warehouse. And Cognos is one such tool in business intelligence and information management. These are some of the companies that are using information management or providing IT services to companies globally all around the world. So I'm currently based in London, and I used to be living in Saudi. So when I was in Saudi, our IT partners were TCS and Wipro when I was working there. And now that I'm in London, our IT partners, strategic partners are TCS and Infosys. So the engineers, the people that are working in these companies are working for global companies across the world. So I have I generally tend to visit Bangalore quite a lot. The TCS office, I'm not sure how many of you have been there. I think it's in Whitefield. But you see the amount of talent and people that we have, and it's growing, and it's not that we have so many people and there's not enough opportunities. There are opportunities everywhere in this industry, and these skills are quite, to my understanding, are quite rare in the IT industry, I would say. At least in Central and Western Europe, and also in North America. Yeah, I didn't know if I wanted to put the slide on, but I still did, just to give you an idea, maybe to motivate you. This is from a couple of years ago. What kind of salaries are paid in the United States or North America. This is the average, of course, so it could be plus and minus. I don't want you to dwell too much on it, but I just wanted to give you something so that it is a little motivating, that how you can progress in your career, from being just an analyst to being an architect or a manager or a scientist. That's in US dollars, by the way, the amounts. Yes, I thought I wanted to put a picture of SQL and databases, because I think the core skill in information management that you need is to be able to write SQL queries and understand databases. The reason I say that is especially coming from me, it is probably makes more sense, because I am not an expert in SQL and databases. I have spent the last 8 years of my career in building Cognos-based reports. And over the last 8 years, I have realized that how important it is for me to understand the data modeling of what the data is like. And that's where the SQL and the database part started to grab my interest, and I started to go more and more into it, trying to understand or self-learn, or a skill that I didn't probably have. Perhaps I did it in my engineering, but I didn't remember. So I think the core skill that you could take away from your curriculum at the university or college in India would be SQL and databases, if you want to get into the field of information management or business intelligence. And I think if you're really good at this, you could always build on any vendor-specific tools or reporting tools, whether you like to be on the reporting side, whether you'd like to be on the data warehousing side, it doesn't matter. But the key skill that you really need to focus on, if databases and SQL is one of your courses, I would recommend that you should put a little more emphasis and try to understand that a little more. Yeah, Abdul Samad told me that what a typical day at my work is, that I need to share that with students. At the moment, after being in this industry for about 8 years, my typical day of work is doing no work. and that's why I just put up my calendar that this was my calendar from yesterday when I was shuttling from one meeting to another. But yeah, no, a typical day at work in an information management, if I go back a few years, is really trying to understand what the real business needs is. So you go to work, you have an email that says, okay, I am going to this report. I was trying to run this report, and this report is giving me the wrong kind of information. And I would get into it. I would try to get into the database, try to see what the problem is, understand whether the issue is actually there or not. A lot of it would, take up sometimes it would take up my time. Sometimes I would get back to the business and tell them that, this is something that is not correct, or this is correct, and then you need to look at it in a different way. And that's one of the things that really helps. And my typical day at work, I usually try to spend some time. As you can see, I put out something for lunch. I usually try to spend some time with someone in my company to try and understand the business more at lunch, and just get their knowledge or their experience with IT, their understanding with IT, to get some feedback from them, or understand what they are doing in their business, because it's very important in information management or IT in general for us to be able to understand what the core business is. For example, if I don't understand what the core business of Allianz is, it's very difficult for me to resolve an issue that someone raises to me. As an example, let's say someone from claims department comes up and says that your claims report is showing negative reserves. What does that mean? I should be able to understand why there is a negative reserve. First of all, I need to understand what is a reserve. So I need to understand what the business is. Apart from doing my day-to-day IT related stuff, most of the time I would try to spend in understanding what the business that I am working for is, and how it works, and what are the limitations, what are the problems, what are the issues that people face. Try to get a little bit more technical about what the insurance industry is. What is a premium? What is an insurance limit? What is a claims reserve? What is indemnity? What is a reserve? These kind of things. So I think it took me a good 1 year to after I joined Allianz to get well versed with all of these things, especially from the insurance side of it, the technical insurance side of it. But yeah, I always recommend from my experience. I used to work at a university in Saudi Arabia, so which was a little bit easier for me because I was also studying at that university. So I knew the university business inside out, what was happening, and it really helped me. But when I moved into insurance, it gave me an opportunity to learn something from the business of the company, other than just to contribute with my IT skills, because it wouldn't be that helpful if I didn't try to combine my skills with some of the business needs. Challenges and perks of the job. Yeah. I'll take myself as an example. Challenges would be to be able to understand. I think I gave a little bit of background on that in the previous slide. To be able to understand the business. Sometimes it's complex. Insurance is not a simple industry. Maybe telecom, for example, might be a little bit more easier to understand from a business perspective. So trying to combine your IT and your company's skills might be easier in telecom industry than, for example, in portfolio management and finance, or in insurance, or in asset management, and something like that. So I would say the biggest challenge is to be able to understand the current business that you're in. And IT is relevant, or we've already seen a backbone in every industry now, and mostly in financial services. But to be able to understand that business, or the knowledge that you can gain from there, is very, very vital. Perks of the job. Perks of my job is traveling. I love to travel, and I get to travel. But yeah, I don't really know what else to say. What are the perks of the job? That's about it for me. It's meeting different people from different background, and then different work backgrounds, understanding. Actually, yes, I can say some of the perk of this job. In information management is I consider it to be like a bridge between IT and finance. I do not consider it to be a pure IT function. IT has infrastructure, technologies, and all of these things. And information management kind of sits right in the middle of finance, which is the key customer within a company of IT. So it basically tries to understand the business and provide IT services accordingly. And that's why I think if you go back over here, you will see that some of the jobs in this industry are like business analyst. It's not just being IT related. So this is a very, very business driven role. And then this, I think, is one of the perks of being in information management, is that you don't just understand IT, you also understand, you're forced to understand the business. Yeah, going on, I just wanted to put this slide up here just to show what business intelligence, or some people like to call it information management and analytics platforms, that are out there in the market. There's quite a few over here. For example, you can see IBM, they have Cognos, SAS, Oracle is there, MicroStrategy, SAP, Microsoft. So this is a quadrant that is generated annually by Gartner. For on the X, you have the completeness of vision, how good the tool is to try to deliver the services, and ability to execute, how easy it is to. So you can see some of the leaders over here are IBM, SAS, Oracle, SAP, Microsoft in this quadrant. Okay. What are the soft skills required to get this job? One of the most underrated skills that we have is communication skills. And within communications, I would actually like to edit this and put something that might really help. Questioning skills. This is something that I learned only recently, that how important questioning is. And I think it's more relevant over here because I have students from 5 different colleges in India. Our culture sometimes restricts or stops us from questioning, and I struggle quite a lot because I was born in Mumbai. I grew up in a very Indian family, although I lived in Saudi Arabia, but I went to an Indian school at first before I moved to university. But we are always told that, or somehow in our culture, we're told that we question people, or question elders, or question. This is one skill that we generally lack. I have a feeling. I struggle quite a lot, and I realized only after being in this industry for the last 8 years that how important questioning is as a soft skill. I don't even think people think questioning is a skill, but it is very, very important in this field. Other soft skills would be client focus, information gathering. I would say is one of the key aspects, that to analyze what information the business wants and try to deliver and execute that, and then to create information that is actionable for the business functions. So these are some of the soft skills. Some other skills that are required to get the job, I would recommend people who are already in databases and IT background, try to understand data modeling techniques, data vault modeling techniques, data warehousing modeling techniques. Two names that are pioneers in this industry is Ralph Kimball or Bill Inmon. I put the data warehousing and modeling first before getting into any vendor-specific reporting tools. And I deliberately put that as a third one because if you are good in the first two, you could pick up any of these tools any day of the week and then start working on it. It will take a little bit of training to get understand what the vendor-specific reporting tools are. But if you have the right foundation in data modeling and data warehousing, data vault modeling, then you would be on the right track, I would imagine. Okay, that's the end. Questions? I put my contact information over here. And if any of you would like to contact me for anything, please feel free.
Okay, so this is Samad here again.
Hi, Samad.
And we are going to put keep the question and answer session very short and crisp. So any question coming in from any of the colleges right now? Just raise your hand. I'll put all that college on mute, unmute. So any question from Yashwantrao College or Rajendra Mani College? So as Mr. Yeah. Any question? Yeah. Kalsekar College, is there a question coming in?
Hello.
Yeah, just come here to the screen. Yeah, please go ahead.
Okay, so I want to ask a question, as in what would you suggest, an MBA in finance or MS in finance?
Yeah, that would depend. What undergraduate study have you done? What is your undergraduate study? That would depend. The answer would depend on what undergraduate study you have done.
Well, we are students of...
I cannot hear you. I cannot hear you.
Yeah,
can you hear me now?
Yes, now I can. Yeah.
Okay, we are currently pursuing a bachelor's in engineering and our specialization is in IT.
Okay, that's good. So that gives me enough information to answer your question. And I personally feel, or this is my opinion, and I've had discussions with people on this as well, that MBA is primarily designed for people who have an engineering background. Okay. And people who have a management background should not do MBA. This is my opinion. People who have done, like, say, a Bachelor of Science in Finance should then pursue a Master of Science in Finance rather than doing MBA. But people from technology, IT, engineering, or other fields should perhaps pursue MBA because it gives you an overview of the different functions that are there in management courses.
Okay, so I think that answers the question. Yes, the lady in white t-shirt. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, that
Okay. So Mr. Desai, I have got a question from my side.
Please don't make it a difficult one.
So I just wanted to know what exactly is data worth modeling.
Okay, data vault modeling. Oh,
Yeah.
I wish I had a slide to show you that. See, there's two methodologies or two schools of thoughts in data warehousing, in which you get the data into an operational system, from an operational system into the data warehouse. The data vault modeling technique, what it does is it tries to capture data in real time. In the sense, it only tries to capture change data. So it brings the data into an area that is called the landing zone, in which only the changed information from the transaction systems is there. And it creates kind of a vault between the landing zone and the data warehouse. In the data warehouse, you have a lot of business rules, data quality checks, and data has to be the single point of truth. While in the data vault, it doesn't have to go through all of those data quality checks, but it has to be in the raw form. So within the vault, you can create some sort of satellites and hubs, and link those satellites and hubs together to be able to process the data downstream into the data warehouse much better. And this data coming from the source system into the landing area and into the data vault is something that is real time, and it's quite a fascinating way of dealing with data warehousing.
So I think that was helpful for me as well as for the students. And I think there is a question coming in from Kalsekar College. Yes, go ahead. We are not able to hear you very clearly.
Now, hello.
Yes.
Okay, I'm a student from Kalsekar College. My question is that whether MBA IT is good or MBA marketing is good, or I just want to ask which has a good scope.
If can you repeat the first part of your question? Was it MBA IT you said?
Yeah, MBA IT or MBA marketing, which one is good? Which has a good scope?
Good question, and then that's why I probably there is a conflict here between my understanding and how some of our colleges are using the names of MBA courses. To me, MBA is just MBA. It is not an MBA in IT. It is not an MBA in marketing. It is not. It is. You could probably try to specialize within MBA with a minor, not a major. I wouldn't call anything to be a major in MBA. If you want to do a specialization, like I answered the last question, there should be a Master of Science course, for marketing, for someone who has done a Bachelor of Science course or BCom in marketing or something like this. But from what I at least feel, that you should go for a general MBA, not try to focus. I know people in most colleges we have in India, sometimes they have these names which may not align with how we understand things, but I would always go for, if you have a background in IT, I would go for a general MBA, so you will get a good knowledge of marketing, management, operations, finance, accounting, everything. And that is what I would recommend.
Okay. Mr. Desai, just one last time. Is that fine?
Yes.
Yes, I think college from Kerala has got a question. Hello, Mr. Desai.
Yes, I'm there. I haven't heard the question.
I think there isn't a question from Kerala. So I think that is the question session from the students, and thank you very much, sir, for joining in and helping the students to get an understanding of FMIS and the financial technology market. Thank you from the college side and from the VBIND team. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you very much for having me, and I hope whatever I rambled on for the last 40 minutes in the morning was good. Thank you. Have a nice day.
Okay, so all the colleges, the professor in charge and the student in charge, please ask all these students to complete the registration, because we are going to send a newsletter containing all the internship, job offers and the courses which are there in this system, that is the management information system in this industry. And also there will be certificates by Mr. Desai and his company. So all the students who want these certificates, they can inform their professor in charge. Or you can also mail us on connect@vbind.in, CONNECT@vbind.in. And thank you very much for joining in. Thank you very much for your cooperation. Have a nice day.